First baseman is Chad Hopkins. The outfield, Jay Rubin out in left. Center fielder, Sean Nason. The right fielder, Chris Pazuski. Behind the plate doing the catching, Craig Strang. And out on the mound with a record of 11-1 on the season, Marky Wilson, an ERA of 1.49. He was the loser in the opening game against Birmingham Southern by a 2-1 count. The umpires for tonight's game.
Lynn, we can't leave out these guys. Lenny Brickens is at home plate. Ron Nordquist is at first. Ron Breedlove is at second, Nashville's own. Pete Hansen at third. Joe Schratz down the left field line, and Mike Metzger down the right field line.
Rick Bayless stepped in to lead things off. First pitch downstairs, ball one. As we're underway, and Wilson goes back to work. Next pitch on his way, ball two. So quickly he's falling behind. Rick Bayless 2-0. We're underway. This pitch, call, strike over the outside corner, 2-1. Whatever you're doing, we hope you're going to enjoy a fun evening, actually, of Bulldog baseball. And sit back, relax, and enjoy the game. This one downstairs, 3-1. Dogs trying to get a leadoff batter on here in the first. They've been very successful at scoring early throughout this World Series.
So important that Rick Bayless is the one that gets on, too. He leads the team with 55 stolen bases, and he gets a base hit up the middle of the field.
Solid single to right center field. Bayless makes a big turn and will hold there as getting the ball back in is Pazuski. And Bayless gets the Dogs off with a solid single to right center field.
A base hit or a walk. We'll take it, Lynn.
So Bayless is on at first, and stepping in will be John Kehoe. John, the second sacker. And in this World Series, John Kehoe batting .250. He's been at the plate 16 times, has had 4 hits in those 16 plate appearances, and has driven in no runs, actually, but he has a double. Wilson into the line, throws over the first now, chases Bayless back in there safely. We're just underway. Couldn't be better weather for a championship game. Blue skies above, there's very little wind, sun shining brightly. Pitch on the way. Curveball, outside corner for a call strike. And Kehoe falls behind, no balls, 1 strike. And we take a look down at the Bulldog skipper Woody Hunt as he runs through some signals. As Dave Sherman told you, Bayless a threat to go at any time at first base. Very important to try to grab a lead early and try to put some pressure on the other team. Bulldogs in a toss coin, flip of the coin actually, became the visitors. Curveball, this one stays upstairs, and we're even at 1-1. Dogs batting in the top of the first. We're just underway. Playing for a national title, and best we can find out, it's the first time that any Cumberland University team has competed for a national title in a championship game. This pitch is downstairs. It's 2-1. Waiting on deck is Steve Green, the Bulldog catcher. Dogs trying to jump out to an early lead. And runs are very important against this Bellevue Ball Club because throughout the World Series they've been a good hitting club. Throw over the first. Bayless goes back in standing up.
Kind of a signature of both teams, Lynn. The Bulldogs have been known to strike early. Bellevue's been known to strike late.
Into the stretch, Wilson goes. There's a long fly ball, center field. Make it over the center fielder's head. No, he backs up and tracks it down just at the warning track. And making a nice catch is Sean Nason, and retreating back to first base will be Rick Bayless. Once again, John Kehoe hit that ball on the nose and chased Nason all the way to the center field warning track. That ball hit about 395 feet.
John got good bat off of that. I can't say good wood anymore because we're using aluminum bats. But John made good contact with the ball, sent it a long way. Unfortunately, it's out number 1.
And that'll bring to the plate Steve Green. And Steve, in this College World Series, batting .200. He's been at the plate 15 times, had 3 hits, a pair of doubles. Steps in there, takes a call, strike 1, a curveball, and it was a beauty. Change speeds. Steve has a few words with the umpire. Thought it might have been a little bit low. But he falls behind, no balls, 1 strike. Bayless away from first. Wilson into the stretch, throws over there again, chases Bayless back. Bayless talking to our first base coach, asking if he might be balking out there. He has a funny delivery, throws over again, and again Bayless back. This time our coach is going to say something to the umpire, tell him to watch for the balk. Has to step toward first if he's going to throw over there. Delivers to the plate. There's a pop-up out behind second. Tracking it down is shortstop DeLuca. Now about 10-15 steps into the center field grass and makes the play. There's 2 away. So Bayless leads off with a solid single, but Kehoe hits it on the nose and is out in center field as he's followed up there with a pop-up from Steve Green, and there's two dogs down here in the top of the first, and Bayless still at first base, and that will bring up Chad Huck. Mark Mills looking at the wrong side.
Don't feel bad. I'm not nervous either. I've been using the Bellevue score sheet for the Cumberland score sheet here.
First pitch, ball one. My stomach's been in a knot all day. But it's been a fun World Series. Quite an experience for these young men from Cumberland, and quite an experience for all of us. National title game at stake here. Pitch on its way. Line drive right field. That's trouble. Could be trouble. Right fielder coming over, diving, catch it. What a play made. That looked like it could get down the line for a double, and two beautiful plays defensively by the Bellevue Ball Club as tracking that one down is the right fielder Poziski. And if he hadn't made the play, the Dogs would have been on the board, but he dives and makes the catch, and the Dogs come up 50 in the top of the first after the leadoff single by Bayless. There were no runs. There was one hit. There was one Bulldog runner left. It's our Bulldogs, nothing. And just now coming into back. Cumberland's defense will set them up like this. Mark Mills will be at third. The shortstop, Chris Strunk. Down at second base, John Kehoe. The first baseman, Jamie Lowry. Out in left field for the Dogs tonight will be Anthony Crawford. The center fielder, Rick Bayless. Out in right field, Chris Combs. Doing the catching is Steve Green. And on the hill for the Dogs will be Greg Gerlin. Greg's accustomed to pitching in tight and big ball games. Has done it throughout his career. Has an ERA of 3.5 on the season. Delivers the first pitch, and this one hits Sean Nason, who leads it off, and right off the bat, Bellevue has a base runner as Gerlin tries to go inside with the pitch, and it nips Nason, and he's down at first base to start the home half of the first for Bellevue.
Lynn, you alluded to the defense by the Bruins. Coming into the tournament, they led the NAIA in errorless games, I think you could call it. They only had, they led the NAIA in fielding percentage, and they were on track to set a new record, but they have made 9 errors in this ball game. Didn't show a thing like that in the first inning, though.
Casey McMillan will be at the plate. He's the third baseman as he stands in there with teammate Nason down at first. Gerlin's first pitch to him sails high and outside for a ball. The Dogs dressed in white pants and maroon tops. Here tonight, tries to bunt it. Rolls foul down the first base side. Steve Green tracks it down and keeps it foul. Count goes to 1-1.
And there is something significant about the Bulldogs wearing white pants and maroon tops, but I can't tell you right now.
It'll come a little later, I suppose.
It will come a little later, yes.
Okay, we'll hold you to that. During all of the midst of heat and excitement and trying to get prepared for a championship game, Woody Hunt sends up a note and wants us to say hello to Louis Payton listening in back home. Just the kind of skipper that Woody is. So, Louis, hello from Coach Hunt and all of us here from the College World Series as Greg Gerlin throws over to first.
Want to take a moment, too, and mention quite a few phone calls we've got. John Franklin's called, Mr. and Mrs. Benton Jennings. I personally want to say a get well to a good friend of mine, Grady Vanetta, who's had some surgery this week.
Pitch on its way. This time McMillan tries to bunt the ball, and it sails over the backstop, so Gerlin out in front, 1 ball, 2 strikes. You got 2 well-disciplined ball clubs playing for a national title. This is the first trip to the College World Series for Bellevue, but they made it to the championship round. The Dogs are playing in their third College World Series. First trip back in 1988. The most recent trip in 1993 when the Dogs finished third. Throw over to first. This one a little bit closer. Diving headfirst back in is Sean Nason. Gerlin out in front, 1 ball, 2 strikes. You look down to see if they have the bunt sign on again. Swinging away, takes it downstairs. Count level at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Sean Nason, 18 of 21 stolen bases this season. He is the team leader in the stolen base department, tied with Casey McMillan in that category.
Casey McMillan hitting .308 in the College World Series. Been up to the plate 13 times, had 4 hits. He scored 3 runs, had 1 home run and 3 RBIs. He's a threat at the plate. Steps in there now with 2 balls, 2 strikes as Gerlin stares in at Green. Gets the sign, delivers the pitch. There's a pop-up down the right side, and it'll get out of play and just gets over the right side of the the stands and out of play.
Two young men up there trying for that fly ball foul, and in mishandling it, the ball went over the railing out into the parking area.
Gerlin back to the motion, kicks and fires. Had him fooled and just kept himself alive by fouling it off into the almost, I guess it did go into the Bellevue dugout, and the count will remain 2 balls and 2 strikes. Great crowd on hand. They're still coming in, and I would have to guess the crowd around 2,000 at this point, as the park seats about 3,800.
3,700 to be exact, I believe.
2 ball, 2 strike pitch by Gerlin. Line drive, left field, base hit. Solid single, and fielding the ball out in left field is Anthony Crawford. They throw back to second, and just getting back beneath the tag is Sean Nason as he made a big turn at second. And we've seen the showcase arm of Crawford, and he almost caught Nason napping down at second. But right in the bottom of the first with nobody out, Bellevue is threatening in the bottom of the first. 2 men on, nobody out. Nason at second, McMillan at first, and to the plate is trouble Nick DeLuca. DeLuca, as we told you in the pregame, had 5 home runs on the season. He has 4 in this World Series. He stands in. He's going to be bunting. He does, right out in front of the plate. Green throws to first. There to take the throw is Jamie Lowry, so there's one away, but advancing over to second and third will be Sean Nason and Casey McMillan. And the first legitimate scoring threat in this ball game belongs to Bellevue. There's 1 out, and to the plate will be Chad Hopkins. Hopkins, the first baseman on this ball club, and Chad steps in batting 125 in the World Series. 16 plate appearances. He has 2 hits. He's also a candidate for a strikeout because he's banned 5 times in those 16 plate appearances. Greg Gerlin could use one right here.
Batting in the number 4 position, you've got to think he's a power hitter. A lot of power hitters also strike out considerably.
First pitch drilled down the right side, but it's foul. Hit it on the nose, but got out in front of it too quickly, and this one goes harmlessly all the way to the right field fence, and will chase it down, one of the bat boys, and it's a no ball, 1 strike count. Runners lead away from second and third. Gerlin into the windup, kicks and fires, curveball, stays upstairs. Greg's the kind of guy that if he can get through the opening innings, he usually settles down and pitches you a whale of a ball game. Right now, he's in a major trouble spot with runners at second and third. To deliver the pitch, fastball, hit right back up the middle. Kehoe fills it. Will go to first base, Jamie Lowry for a second out, but crossing the plate with the first run of the game is Sean Nason. So the hit batsman comes back to roost and scores, and the opening run of the game belongs to Bellevue, and they have grabbed an early 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first. There's 2 away, and moving over to third on the plate was Casey McMillan.
John might have had a play at the plate on that. He elected to go to first base, get the out, allow the run to score.
Craig String, the catcher for the Bruins, will step in. String on the World Series, batting 278. As Gerlin stares in, now goes to work. Curveball, and it's a beauty. Swung through and missed. Gerlin out in front. The Dogs, last time out, which was Wednesday against Birmingham Southern, got 2 runs in the first and were held shut out the rest of the game. Maybe the same will hold true for Bellevue here tonight. Gerlin kicks and fires, just missed the outside corner. Count level at 1 ball and 1 strike. Bellevue, the kind of ball club, you get the feeling that the Dogs can score some runs. They hit the ball on the nose in the top of the first, but came up empty because of 2 defensive gems. This ball sails inside, count 2 balls, 1 strike.
Well, it's obvious that Greg has yet to find his rhythm out there on the mound, but as you mentioned, sometimes he does start a little slow, gets stronger as the game wears on.
2-1 pitch on its way, fastball bounced to the right side. John Kehoe with it on 2 hops, flips across to Jamie Lowry, and the third out is recorded. But Bellevue picks up 1 run. There was a hit batsman, a solid base hit. They pick up 1 run lead after 1 inning of play. It's Bellevue 1, Cumberland nothing. We'll be back for the second inning right after this. And 9 part of the order didn't get much of the production for the Bulldogs. Anthony, however, has had a good World Series. He's been at the plate 13 times, had 8 hits, scored a pair of runs. He's had a double, also a long home run, and 3 RBIs. Hitting .615 in the College World Series. Pretty impressive for the Bulldog left fielder as he stands in, and he'll face Marcy Wilson. This pitch sails inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Weiler waiting on deck as the Dogs bat in the top of the second. Wilson into the windup, pitches, foul ball, and this one takes the umpire's mask off. And the count's level at 1 ball and 1 strike. Bulldog baseball from the College World Series being brought to you by Whitsign Company, UMC, Tennessee Orthopedics, and Cunningham Motors. And we hope you'll stop by and tell these folks how much you appreciate these fine sponsors bringing you this College World Series. And, of course, the Coach Woody Hunt Show brought to you by Wilson Bank and Trust. Been a fun trip, quite an experience for a lot of us, as the 1-1 pitch sails outside 2-1. Wilson goes back to work. This one stays inside. Count goes 3-1. So Crawford out in front of the count, trying to be a leadoff base runner here in the top of the second. Here's the fastball, foul to the right side, and now the play, and the count's full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. For the Bulldog left fielder, Anthony Crawford.
Home plate umpire Lenny Brickens doing a good job back there. He's quick with that count call.
This one downstairs, ball 4. So the Dogs have a leadoff runner on here in the second as Crawford leads off with a walk, and for the second consecutive inning, the Dogs have the leadoff man on. Let's see if we can do more damage in the second than we were able to do in the top of the first. Jason Weiler steps in. The designated hitter, Weiler, has been at the plate 15 times and is still looking for his first hit here in the World Series. Be a good time to have that first hit.
As I said Wednesday night, he's due.
Pitch on its way, and there's a long drive. Left field, back to the warning track. Camping under it is Rubin, and he'll make the catch just in front of the 330 sign. And Weiler just got underneath that one and almost got it out of here as he chases the left fielder Jay Rubin to the warning track, but he's able to make the play, and retreating back to first base once again is Anthony Crawford.
Jason's got to be shaking his head saying, what do I have to do to get a hit? He's hit the ball well when he has made contact. It just happens to be right at somebody.
Chris Combs steps in. Curveball, and it's a beauty for a call strike. Chris Combs, the right fielder, had a good World Series as well. Batting .214. He's 3 of 14. Played a solid defense out in right field. For the Dogs, no balls and 1 strike. Throw over to first. Chases Crawford back. He goes in standing. Just an ideal night for baseball here in Sioux City, Iowa. A few fluffy clouds overhead, but flags hang limp. Pitch downstairs, and it's level at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Showers were in the forecast this afternoon. Thank goodness we haven't seen anything. But as you said, Lynn, just an absolutely beautiful evening for baseball.
And just about 100 miles south of here, as the throw goes over to first, and once again Crawford back. Down in Omaha, Nebraska, the NCAA College World Series got underway this afternoon, and what a dramatic first game. Pitch on its way, swung on and missed by Combs. Counts goes to 1-2 as Florida State got a 2-run homer in the 9th inning to beat Oklahoma 3-2.
Well, a lot of the Bulldogs have described the scenario for me. They're going to bring the NAIA World Series Championship back to Lebanon. They're going to let Tennessee bring the NCAA Championship back to Knoxville. A complete Tennessee
sweep. We'll take the Dogs. Let's get it started right here tonight. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Chris Combs at the plate. Away from first is Anthony Crawford. Pitch on its way. Sails upstairs. Count level at 2-2. Dogs getting some good swings off of Wilson. Wilson's season's record, 11-1 with an ERA of 1.49. Kicks and he fires. This one in the dirt. He held up. Count full at 3 balls, 2 strikes. Chris almost went fishing for one that hit 5 feet out in front of the plate.
They appealed to Pete Hansen, the third base umpire, and he said no, he did not go.
So there's 3 balls, 2 strikes, and we look down and see if the brain trust for the Bulldogs will send the runner at first. Woody Hunt stares and goes through a set of signs. Wilson into the stretch. Delivers the pitch. There goes Crawford. There's a long fly ball deep right field. This one's going to get over his head. This one's got a chance to get out of here. And it's gone. He has a 2-run homer. How about that? Chris Combs hits a 2-2 or a 3-2 pitch 340 feet over the right center field wall, and the Dogs have grabbed the lead in the top of the second 2-1. Holy smoke.
But Chris Combs got everything behind that ball. That was a major league home run. It had flight, it had distance. Beautiful, beautiful hit by Chris Combs.
Well, it looked like Pazuski was going to have to track one down if he was going to catch that one, but he just sailed right on out of the ballpark, and the Dogs have grabbed the lead 2-1. Chris Combs steps up and jacks one out of here. And that makes the Bulldog faithful down the left side come alive.
And that's, as I said, Lynn, we've got to get hitting out of that 6, 7, 8, and 9 position as Jamie Lowry lifts a high fly ball to center field.
Camping under it, though, is the center fielder, Sean Nason, about 380 feet away from home plate, and it's a long fly out for Lowry in the second out of the inning. And to the plate will be the Bulldogs shortstop, Chris Schrock. Chris on the World Series also looking for his first hit. He's 0 of 8, but what a defensive shortstop Chris Schrock has played.
I think I've mentioned Chris Schrock didn't even start for his high school team in Sarasota, Florida. They were #1 in the nation by USA Today. You got to imagine this young man is going to be a fine shortstop by the time he completes his career at Cumberland.
Schrock steps back in there. The first pitch was inside for a ball. The next pitch downstairs in the dirt, 2-0. Well, Marcy Wilson carried a 1.49 ERA into the ball game for the season. He just went above that with one pitch to Chris Combs. 2-ball, no strike count. This one upstairs, 3-0. Bayless waits on deck as we'll go back to the top of the order for the Dogs. And I know if you fall behind, the one thing you want to do is fight back quick. And the Dogs are able to do that here in the top of the second as the pitch goes into the dirt. It's ball 4 and down to first base with the second walk of the game and the second walk of the inning. It's Chris Schrock, and that'll bring up Rick Bayless. Bayless had a solid single in the first inning as he'll bat again here in the second. Bayless came into tonight's game 2 for 15. Line drive down to the right side. Second baseman knocks it down and will throw over to first. And retiring Rick Bayless is the second sacker of Blake Bryce as he took the one hot shot and fielded it, threw over to Chad Hopkins, and the Dogs are retired. But it's a good second inning for the Dogs as Chris Combs hits a 2-run homer over the right center field wall with teammate Anthony Crawford aboard. And we played 1.5 now. It's our Bulldogs 2 and the Bruins Bellevue 1. We'll
for the Bruins, the left fielder, number 36, Jay Rubin.
You're listening to Bulldog Baseball on WANT FM and WCOR in Lebanon. We move to the bottom of the second, and to lead it off is Jay Rubin delivering the first pitch is Gerlin. He tries to bunt the ball. It goes out in front of the plate. Gerlin fields it, throws over to first, and Jamie Lowry, and quickly there's one away. So we have a fast start to the bottom of the second. Good fielding job by Greg Gerlin. One down. And we go to Keith Marco, the designated hitter on this ball club. First pitch by Gerlin sells downstairs for a ball. Gerlin into the windup, kicks and fires, bouncing ball third base side. Mark Mills boots it, now finds the handle, fires across to Jamie Lowry, and quickly there's 2 away. Mark has good soft hands down there at third base. Looked like he came up with the handle, it shot out, but he was able to recover and throw across to Lowry for the second out of the inning.
It bounced, it looked like, out of his glove and just cradled right in his arm. He was able to get back on top of the play very quickly.
Go through the keys and he's good.
2 away. Here's the pitch to Blake Bryce. Fly ball, left field. Anthony Crawford's going to cap under this one. He's there. He makes the put out, and quickly, 1, 2, 3 go the Bruins. There's no runs, no hits, no errors. And Jamie Lowry, Greg Gerlin has a solid second. Welcome back to Sioux City, Iowa, and we move to the third inning, and we'll have John Kehoe to lead off for the Dogs here in the third. Kehoe's first trip was a line drive to center field that looked like extra bases, but a great play by the center fielder, Nason. Robbed Kehoe of a hit. First pitch is downstairs for a ball. We're underway here in the third inning. Dogs leading 2-1 as Wilson goes to work. Curveball, and it's a beauty for a call, strike one. To go along with one ball, 1-1, the count. This pitch fouled and catches the umpire in the shin guard, and the home plate umpire,
Lenny Brickens,
taking a beating here in the first few innings.
5'4" of him back there. He's not very tall by any means.
We're in the third inning. Cumberland leading by the score of 2-1. And there's a bit of a holdup, and I guess we're waiting for baseball. And it would be hard to play the game without baseball.
Looks like there's a little activity down in the Bruin bullpen already.
Well, it's the kind of game where you can't go a long way with starters if they're struggling, and the Dogs have gotten some good swings off of Wilson here in the early going. Here's the pitch. Kehoe delivers. This is going to be a tough play. Shortstop charges in, throws to first, and he will be safe. He throws it way over the first baseman's head. It goes bouncing off the right dugout and out in the right field, but backing him up is the second sacker, and we'll see how they'll score it. It looks like it should be a hit.
That will have to be considered a hit. John Kehoe had already crossed first base by the time that ball sailed over the first baseman's head.
Catcher Steve
And they
Green.
get to score it, and they will give John Kehoe a single, as it should be.
John Kehoe picks up a base hit here, giving the Bulldogs a leadoff runner at first base here in the top half of the third inning.
And it's the third consecutive inning that the Dogs have had the leadoff man on. As Steve Green steps in and smacks one down the right side foul, and he falls behind, no balls and one strike.
Steve Green 0 for 1 on the evening after a very high pop-up to short back in the first.
This one's upstairs for a ball, count level at 1-1.
Well, it's obvious right now that Marcy Wilson is not getting his pitches to go where he wants them to go.
Back into the motion, kicks and he fires. This one almost got up over the screen, and had it made it over the screen, I would have had to made a play.
It one of us because it was heading right for us.
And I got a feeling it would have been you, because I would have been ducking. One ball, two strikes, third inning. Dogs leading 2-1. Steve Green steps in, pitch on its way, upstairs, count level at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Steve Green looks every pitch over very carefully before he makes a decision up there, seeing the ball better probably than any Cumberland Bulldog right now.
Pitch on its way from Wilson, upstairs, ball 3, count full. John Kehoe playing a little havoc with Wilson. He's trying to distract him, and he may be doing it as count has been run full to 3 balls and 2 strikes.
John a threat to steal down there as he is running on the pitch.
And it's ball 4, so the Dogs have 2 men on here in the third inning as Kehoe delivered a infield single, and now Steve Green has coaxed a walk off of Marcy Wilson, and out to talk with his pitcher will be Coach Mike Evans. Through the videotape where we're doing also the audio, so you may be in big trouble. Anyway, we got runners at first and second. Kehoe away from second, down at first Steve Green, and standing in is Mark Mills. A pitch from Wilson, inside corner for a call strike.
Mark Mills 0 for 1, flying out to right field his first trip to the plate.
No balls, 1 strike to count. To Mark Mills, runners lead away, thought about bunting, but it sails upstairs, count level at 1 ball, 1 strike. Coach Woody Hunt running through a series of signals down in the third base coach's box. Both runners have gotten their orders. Wilson back on the hill, stares into his catcher Strang. Mills is all set. It's into the windup, and now will deliver the pitch. It's on its way. Started his swing, tried to hold up. Nevertheless, it's a call strike, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Mark, of course, with that big base hit back against Birmingham Southern to give the Bulldogs a 2-0 lead early in that game before Cumberland eventually fell 3-2.
Mills, a .250 hitter in the World Series. 4-16. Played solid third base. Runner Spake going. There's a bouncing ball to the right side. It's going to get through. And it's a base hit for Mills. Runner around third. Here comes the throw to the plate. It's wide up to the left side. Sliding safely into the plate and scoring is John Kehoe. Running down to third is Steve Green. And running into second base will be Mark Mills. And the Dogs are up 3-1. Mark Mills delivers a soft single to right field as it bounced through the right side of the infield in between the first and second baseman Hopkins and Bryce. And coming in to score, John Kehoe never let up a bit. Coming around third base, the throw was up the third base side, and both runners move up, so the Dogs are in good position with runners at second and third, and standing in there is Anthony Crawford.
And nobody out.
And nobody out. Dogs trying to add to a 3-1 lead. We're in the third. Pitch on the way by Wilson. And there's a fly ball, shallow center field. This could be trouble. Center fielder now going to come in and make the play. Let's see if they send the runner. They will not, as the throw's right on the money. And a good thing that the Dogs held the runner at third.
I thought the hit was a little bit deeper than that, but the center fielder making the play in shallow center field, able to throw a strike to the plate.
So now there's one out, and Dogs have runners at second and third. It would be a shame to leave these guys out there with just one out as Jason Weiler steps in.
He's due.
Jason is due. We've heard that before. He almost delivered last time up. Pitch on the way. This one sails inside for a ball. Weiler, the designated hitter. Chris Combs on deck for the Dogs. We're in the third. 3-1 score. Pitch on its way, swung through and missed wildly by Weiler. And the count is level at 1 ball and 1 strike.
I had a chance to speak with Jason's mother and father, who have made the trip up here from Humboldt, Kansas. Very likable people. Enjoyed meeting.
Jason put the ball in play, played another run, but it's going to be popped up straight back up the chute, and catcher may have the play right in front of the screen, and does. Dogs unable to capitalize with runners in scoring position second and third with nobody out. They're still out there now with 2 away.
Chris Combs, of course, coming to the plate. Chris hit that home run back in the first or in the second inning to give the Bulldogs the 2-0 lead.
Big runners out at second and third. You're looking at a 3-1 lead. A base hit makes it 5-1 as Combs steps in for his second plate appearance. Bouncing ball to right side. First baseman going to come over and field it. Going to have to throw to his pitcher covering, and runs to the bag and wins the foot race. And the Dogs pick up 1 run, but they blow a scoring opportunity as they leave runners at second and third. They were there with no outs, and they'll be there with 3 outs as the Dogs pick up 1 run in the inning off of 2 hits, singles from Kehoe and Mills. We played 2.5. It's our Bulldogs 3, the Bruins of Bellevue 1. We'll be back after this.
The Bruins, right fielder number 10, Chris Kozinski.
Welcome back to Sioux City, Iowa, as we start playing the bottom of the third. Leading off for our Bellevue will be Chris Pazuski. The right fielder, Greg Gerland's first pitch sails outside for a ball, and we're underway in the third. Gerland delivers the pitch. Line drive, left field, going to fall in for a base hit. So a good start to the bottom of the third as Crawford comes up with it. Runner thinks about coming to second. Good thing he didn't, because the ball's right in there on the money to Chris Brook, and hoping with a long, noisy single is Chris Pazuski as the Bruins get a good start to their half of the third inning. That's the second hit for Bellevue. And back to the top of the order we go, and Sean Nason. Nason had a hit, but it was a hit batsman in the first as he led off the ball game. And first pitch, Gerland nailed him. And as you watch him stand in there, you can understand why he crowds the plate. This pitch, a call strike. Nason had squared around the bunt, but took the pitch for a call strike. Dogs blew a great opportunity to add to a 3-1 lead as they had runners at second and third. Green and Mills left stranded. There were nobody out. Dogs unable to capitalize. Gerland kicks and fires. This one outside. Count level at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Trying to name an all-tournament team here, too, as Lynn and I have been asked as members of the media representative. So I'm going back looking through scorebooks trying to come up with some names and positions.
And there's a lot of quality athletes and stars to try to choose from, so it's a difficult task. Gerlin into the motion, kicks and fire. We're going to bunt the ball. Mills may have a play at second. Can't. Goes to first, throws to Jamie Lowry, and nails Nason down at first. He thought about going to second, but elected to go to first. Moving down to second on the sacrifice will be Pazuski. And there's one away in the inning as Nason sacrifices him over, and that'll bring to the plate Casey McMillan. McMillan back in the first delivered a solid single to left field. So he'll stand in there 1-for-1 on the evening. And out to have a chat with the second base umpire is the skipper for Bellevue. Don't know exactly what this conversation could be about, but nevertheless, conversation has ended.
It's Ron Breedlove, the umpire there at second base, but I have no idea what that conversation could have been about.
Nevertheless, stepping in is McMillan as Gerlin working with the runner at second, one out, bottom at the third inning. Gerlin stares him back. I don't know who would be listening in back home that doesn't know by now that the Dogs are playing for the National Crown, but if you don't, that's exactly what's going on here in Sioux City, Iowa. Gerlin on the way, outside, a ball. 1-0. We understand that festivities are planned for this team, who will board the bus and quickly change and shower back at the hotel and then head back some 900 miles to the friendly confines of Lebanon. Should be arriving back tomorrow afternoon, and I think there's a contingent planning to meet this Bulldog team at the Mount Juliet exit as you come east around 4:30, about the time the club should be arriving back. Hope you'll make plans to go out and greet them and welcome them home. Throw down to second. Almost sells. Now does sell out in the center field. And moving over to third base will be Pazuski, and a careless mistake by the Dogs to allow the runner to advance to third, where a sacrifice fly could get the runner home. Green tried to throw to second from his knees and overthrew John Kehoe, and the ball just sailed out in the center field, and that's the second time in the World Series that's happened.
Yeah, Steve Green also, with a pickoff attempt at first base, threw the ball into right field.
Runner down at third now with just one out, a 2-ball, no strike count to McMillan. Into the motion, bouncing ball third base side, fielding the ball. Mills coming to the plate, throws it in the dirt. Runner will score. Runner will be safe at first as the Dogs shoot themselves in the foot here in the bottom of the third with back-to-back mistakes. It would have taken a perfect throw at the plate from Mills to gun down the base runner. Had he made the perfect play, I believe they had a shot at him.
I think Mark Mills had plenty of time. He just tried to hurry up his throw and threw a little bit wild to Steve Green.
Breakdown by the Dogs here in the bottom of third. A throwing error out to second base from catcher Steve Green, and then a bad decision, actually, I think, from Mills to come to the plate. But as we said, had it been a perfect throw, they may have gunned him down at the plate. But now, the second run of the game has scored for Bellevue, and they have a runner at first. And we may be getting, are we getting a pinch runner there? Or?
No, McMillan went back in to change helmets or something there.
So the situation now is this. The Dogs have scored 3 times, Bellevue 2. They have a runner at first. And Casey McMillan and Nick DeLuca at the plate. He's a threat. This one downstairs the ball. I like the way he batted the first time, and that was bunt.
I see you've already added Nick DeLuca's name in the third base MVP all-tournament team slot.
Throw over to first. The runner goes back in head first. DeLuca is shortstop on this club. And quite a World Series. Pitch on its way. Bouncing ball down the left side. Going to just get inside the line for a fair ball. Around third's McMillan. Crawford up with it. Gets it back in. Throwing in to second base. Sliding in with the double is Nick DeLuca. And Bellevue has runners at second and third, and they're only one man out.
Nick DeLuca having an excellent World Series as he adds to his hit total here today.
DeLuca came into tonight's game batting .474 in the World Series, 19 at-bats, 9 hits, and among those 4 homers and 3 doubles, and he just picked up his 4th double as that ball hugged the left field line all the way, and the Dogs are in deep trouble here in the bottom of the third as Gerlin works and he'll face Chad Hopkins. Bounce foul at the plate. Out in front, no balls and one strike. And we look down to the left side and trotting down to start throwing for the Dogs is Kevin Height. Height has pitched 2 shutouts in this World Series. And as Coach Woody Hunt said in the pregame, should be able to go 4 or 5 innings if called upon. And as we told you, when the national title's at stake, you have to make decisions early because you can't go with people if they're struggling. And right now, Greg Gerlin's in a mess, but in his fairness, the defense has been a little bit shoddy here in the third. Hopkins steps in, grounded to second his first time up. McMillan's away from third, DeLuca down at second. Gerlin stares in to Green for his sign and now delivers the pitch, a curveball, and it's a beauty, and he's out in front, no balls and 2 strikes. Gerlin and the Dogs could use a strikeout here to preserve the lead. As we told you earlier, Hopkins is a strikeout candidate as he's fanned 5 times in the series. Pitch on its way, sails outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dogs officially have committed 1 error in the inning. Throwing mistake by Bulldog catcher Steve Green trying to pick off a runner at second. But in all fairness to Gerlin, there should be 2 outs in the frame. Curveball. Foul tips and just stays alive. The count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Chad Hopkins grounded out to second base back in the first inning. 0 for 1 officially at the plate.
So the count will remain 1 ball, 2 strikes. There's 1 out. There's 2 runners on, second and third. Gerlin now will step off the rubber. And we'll start it all over again as the runners lead away from their bases. Gerlin stares in the green for the sign, delivers the pitch on its way. Curveball, bounce foul down the right side. Jamie Lowry picks it up in foul territory. And we'll try again at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bulldogs leading 3-2. Had a chance to really bust the game open in the top half of this inning. Runners at second and third, nobody out. Unable to get the runners in. Crawford, Weiler, and Combs left them stranded.
Bulldogs missed a big scoring opportunity in the top half of this inning. These are runs that they need to get across.
Bulldogs with 4 hits. Bellevue with 3. Dogs leading 3-2. Pitch on its way. Fastball bounce to right side. Lowry steps on the bag. Now throws the plate. He will be. They'll call him safe. And must have got underneath the foot of Steve Green, who thought he had blocked the plate. Jamie Lowry makes the play at first base, and out comes Woody Hunt. And we may have a discussion about this call. Woody Hunt's right in the face of the home plate umpire as Steve Green had blocked the plate, and it looked like he might have been out at the plate, and the discussion's on, but I'm sure, as in most cases, that we'll lose this argument, but a great play by Jamie down at first base as the first base umpire now comes running in to sort the players out and let Coach Hunt have the say, and now the third base umpire will come trucking down the line. Woody heads back to the dugout. It was a bang-bang play at the plate. And evidently, just getting under the tag is Casey McMillan. It looked like Green might have blocked the plate and kept him off the home plate. But nevertheless, the game is tied at 3 apiece.
The only thing I can imagine, Steve Green, of course, taking the throw from Jamie Lowry from the first base side. He had to come across the plate, or come across his body with the tag. It may have been a little bit late, even though he was blocking the plate well.
So now we're tied at 3 apiece, and to the plate will be Craig Strain. He grounded to second his first time up, fouls it to the screen, count level at 1 ball and 1 strike. Advancing on the play over to third was Nick DeLuca. He's 90 feet away from giving the Bruins the lead here. 3-3 tied. Bang, bang play at the plate. Lowry fielded the ball just outside the first base bag, quickly stepped on it and threw to the plate, and it was very close. 1-1 pitch sails outside.
Lenny Brickens, the home plate umpire, right on top of the call, very quick with his call, so I'll have to agree and say he might have been out.
2 balls, 1 strike. Pitch on its way. Call, strike 2. Count level at 2 balls, 2 strikes. DeLuca down at third. We're in a 3-3 deadlock. And we're in the bottom of the third. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Gerlin into the motion, will kick and fire, deliver the pitch, change of speed, bounce foul down the third base side. That time had Strang way out in front.
Gerlin definitely having the third baseman fooled on that pitch. I'm sorry, the catcher fooled.
3-3 tie, bottom of the third. Gerlin stands out on the hill, looks in for his sign, delivers the pitch on its way. Swung on and missed for a strikeout, and that's the first strikeout of the ball game for Greg Gerlin, but it comes at a good time because it leaves DeLuca stranded down at third. We played 3. We're all knotted now at 3 apiece. It's the Bulldogs 3 and the Bruins 3. We'll be back for the 4th inning after this pause. Will go, and for the Dogs, leading it off will be the first sacker, Jamie Lowry. Lowry steps in, takes the first pitch. This one downstairs for a ball.
And that play at the plate may have got some Bulldogs fired up. It might be that they're going to come through with some runs this inning, Lynn.
Pitch on its way, just 2 downstairs. 2 balls, no strikes. Dogs trying to get the leadoff batter on for the 4th consecutive inning. As we're knotted at 3 apiece, this one over the inside corner. Count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike.
The Bulldogs 3 runs on 4 hits. The Bruins 3 runs on 3 hits so far.
Pitch on its way, soft fly ball, shallow right field, might fall. Right fielder, center fielder coming on, it will fall, it bounces away. Headed to second base, trying to leg it into second, and sliding safely with a hustling double is Jamie Lowry. That time, the right fielder, Pazuski, the center fielder, Nason, the second baseman, Bryce, and the shortstop, DeLuca, all tried to track that one down, and it fell right in between them, and DeLuca kicked it further to the right side of the diamond. And hustling in the second with a leadoff double is Jamie Lowry, so the Dogs are in business here in the 4th with the leadoff man standing down at second base, and at the plate will be the shortstop, Chris Schrock.
Good heads-up base running by Jamie Lowry. He saw that ball had been kicked away, and he kept on going, safe at second.
Schrock tries to bunt it down the right side, but it's foul. And he's behind in the count 0-1, trying to advance the runner over to third for the top of the order. Bayless waiting on deck for the Dogs.
If that ball hadn't have gone foul, you could almost have called interference there. Jamie had to sidestep his way through 3 Bruin players there.
So the Dogs with a good start here in the 4th inning. Let's see if they can capitalize with the hustling heads-up play by Jamie Lowry as he stands down at second. Try to put a play on at second, but chasing the runner back harmlessly. Standing up out there, Jamie Lowry wouldn't have anything to do with the fake throw. Pitch on its way to the plate. Now Schrock is swinging away and fouls it behind the press box and out of play.
And that one almost went in the window of the press box over there, Nick.
Schrock in a position where he can help the club, even if he can hit it to the right side of the diamond. Advance the runner over to the third. Pitch on its way. Bounce to the left side. Coming over to the third. It's going to get the job done anyway. Close play at first. They'll never get him. It's off the base. Have to score it as an infield hit as Schrock hit a soft roller. The shortstop was shading Schrock to the second base side and had a long way to come for it and couldn't make the throw to first. So the Dogs now have runners on the corners at first and third with nobody out.
That ball, just like it had eyes, made sure it wasn't going where the shortstop was standing.
So the Dogs now with a golden opportunity to re-grab the lead as they have runners at first and third. There's nobody out, and standing in is Rick Bayless, the Bulldog center fielder. He had a single back in the first, grounded to second and in the second. Bunts his way, trying to bunt his way on, hits it to third base. They'll just snip him at first base in a bang-bang play as Bayless tried to catch him napping. Advancing down to second base will be Chris Schrock. So now the Dogs have runners at second and third, and Bayless was gunned down at first.
Very close play. The speedy Rick Bayless able to get down the first baseline very quickly.
I'm sure they'll score that a 5-3 and not a sacrifice, as Bayless appeared to be trying to bunt his way on. Nevertheless, Schrock advances to second, so the Dogs have runners at second and third again, and John Kehoe steps in to face Wilson. Pitch on its way, outside a ball. Did that surprise you that Bayless was bunting with a man at third in scoring position?
Yes, it did. Bayless can hit the ball and hits away very well. Had 9 RBIs in the Mid-South Region Tournament in Kingsport, Tennessee.
Wilson behind, 1-0, delivers the pitch to Kehoe. This a curveball, a beauty for a call strike. John, in the last couple of games, has been swinging the bat well. He's hit it on the nose. His first time up tonight, drove the center fielder to the warning track. Second time up, had a solid single. 1 for 2. Now hits the ball up the middle. This one might get through. Knocked down by the second baseman. He'll not have a play coming in to score. The Bulldogs' fourth run of the ball game is Jamie Lowry, and John Kehoe has his second hit of the ball game and has driven in the Bulldogs' fourth run of the game, and advancing over to third base on the play is Chris Schrock.
Bulldogs with runners on the corners, 1 run in and only 1 out so far here in the top half of the 4th inning.
And to the plate will go Steve Green. Steve, the Bulldog catcher. Knight popped up as a shortstop in his walk. Runners lead away from first and third as Wilson throws over, chases Kehoe back. We told you John swinging the bat a lot better the last couple of games, and Knight has a pair of hits. Wilson throws back to first, and again Kehoe safely back.
As I've mentioned before, Lynn, what John does out there is typical of what these Bulldogs do. When John's on, the Bulldogs are on.
Throw the plate, sails high and outside.
We're now joined here in the press box by Pete Logan, administrative assistant of the NAIA, watching over our shoulder here.
Pitch on its way, popped up, out behind second base. Standing in his tracks to make the catch is DeLuca, and standing down at third base, unable to advance, is Chris Schrock.
Second time this evening, Steve Green with a high pop-up that the shortstop has made the play on.
Bulldogs have had golden opportunities in the third and fourth. Been able to get 1 run here in the 4th inning, or scored 1 in the 3rd inning. But the opportunity exists for more to happen.
Mark Mills at the plate already has 1 RBI in this game as he takes the first pitch for a called strike.
Bulldogs with 7 hits and 4 runs to the first. Runner going to second. He'll make it without a throw. Kehoe with a heads-up base running. Advances into scoring position, and swinging and missing on the pitch was Mark Mills. So Mills is in the hole, no balls and 2 strikes, but there's 2 outs and 2 dogs in scoring position. Schrock away from third. Kehoe away from second. Pitch to Mills. Must have been upstairs.
Very important play there by John Kehoe, moving from first to second without being challenged by the Bruins. Puts him in scoring position along with Chris Schrock at third.
Mark may have got a break there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wilson kicks and fires. Swung on and missed by Mills, and the Dogs have left 2 more runners out there at second and third in scoring position. And we played 3 1/2. It's our Bulldogs 4, Bellevue 3. We'll be back from the bottom of the 4th right after you hear this. Okay, through 3 1/2 innings, the Dogs, in their first 4 plate appearances, have scored 4 runs. They have 7 hits. Maybe the most important story, though, they've left 6 runners stranded, and 4 of them have been in scoring position at second and third with less than 2 outs.
Not typical of the Bulldogs leaving runners on base.
And we're set to play here in the bottom of the 4th, and leading it off will be Jay Rubin, and he takes the first pitch and delivers a high foul ball over the press box, and Gerlin goes to work out in front, no balls and 1 strike. Pitch on its way, a curveball, and it's a dandy. Gerlin quickly out in front of Jay Rubin, no balls and 2 strikes. A lot of runs being scored early. Bulldog bullpen quiet, as is Bellevue's. This one sails outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Bulldogs left 5 runners on board in Game 1 against Southeastern Oklahoma, 8 runners on board against St. Francis, and I don't have the stat in front of me on Birmingham Southern. I'm sorry.
1-2 pitch, curveball, and must have broke around the plate. It's level at 2-2, and taking a long, slow walk down the left side is Kevin Height for the Bulldog bullpen. You get the feeling that Height may be around here before this night's over. Bouncing ball up the middle. It's going to take high hop and skip on to center field, and Rick Bailiff will have to get it back in. And once again, a leadoff batter on as Jay Rubin has a single. And that's the fourth hit of the night for the Bruins.
And the third time they have had the leadoff batter on board, going down in consecutive order back in the second.
So Keith Marco, the designated hitter on the Bruin Ball Club, will step in. Last time up, grounded out to Mark Mills. He steps in, flies it down the right side. The runner was going, chasing it is Jamie Lowry, but it's out of play in the stands. And it's just a long, noisy strike.
That ball hit the hot tub over there, man. That's what that is a hot tub that's over on the right field line.
I've been here 9 days and haven't realized there were a hot tub down the right field side.
They have a giveaway night with that where they allow 4 people to come to the game and sit in the hot tub and watch the ball game with the Sioux City Explorers.
No balls, 1 strike. Marco steps back in, leading away as Jay Rubin at first. Gerlin throws over there and chases him back. We're in the fourth. The Dogs are leading 4-3, playing for the national championship. Thus far, it's been a dandy if you like offense. Seen a little bit of everything.
A local radio station referring to this as the World Series as the pickoff attempt goes from Jamie Lowry over to Chris Schrock covering, back to Greg Gerlin, and finally John Kehoe makes the tag as they get the runner, Jay Rubin, in a rundown between first and second. So the Bulldogs eliminate the threat here with 1 out now in the first inning.
So Gerlin has him picked off. He throws over to Jamie Lowry, and that play would go 1-3-6-3-4 for the put-out. They had him in a rundown, and John tracked him down and tagged him out for the first out of the inning. So just like that, the leadoff batter's erased. Marco, soft ground ball. Schrock up with it. Guns to Jamie Lowry, and they're 2 away. So just when you thought there was need to worry, Greg Gerlin picks him off, and there's 2 going quickly because on the next pitch, Marco grounds softly to Schrock, and there's 2 outs in the 4th inning.
Let me correct you if I will. That went 1-3-6-1-4. You threw an extra 3 in there. But anyway, it's an out. 1 out.
We'll take it. 2 going. Pitch on its way. Sells outside. Ball 1. Two outs. Nobody on. Blake Price at the plate. Takes the pitch outside corner for a call strike.
And again, Greg Gerlin out on the mound had a little bit of trouble last inning, but he still looks like he's strong and pitching effectively.
1 ball, 1 strike. Pitch on its way to Price. Soft fly ball down the right side. Lowry going to chase it. It's going to be a tough chance. It's going to fall in for a single, and it's a base hit. As that one had eyes, it fell in between 3 Bulldog players. As tracking it down was Jamie Lowry, unable to come up with it, and out there also was John Kehoe and the right fielder Chris Combs. But it's a 2-out single for Blake Price, and it'll bring up to the plate Chris Pazuski, who also had a single his first time up.
John Kehoe making the play on that ball as he had the better angle coming from second base, but all 3 Bulldogs unable to retrieve it. Runner on first.
2 outs, 1 man on. Dogs leading 4-3, and now we're going to get a balk. Balk is called, and Woody Hunt is quickly out of the dugout, and he wants an explanation.
I can't blame him. I think that's the first balk that's been called on Greg Gerlin all season.
We'll try to see if we can do any lip reading as Woody Hunt gets an explanation. As they do, it looks like Woody's saying, did he break his hands? And the umpire's nodding his head in agreement. I never saw him break his hands, but apparently he did. And nevertheless, down to second will be Blake Price. And Greg Gerlin's going to walk over and ask him exactly what he did, so I don't do it again, I suppose.
Ron.
So the Dogs put a runner in scoring position with a balk. And with 2 outs now, a base hit by Pazuski could tie this game up. Dogs sort of helping Bellevue out a little bit here in the early going. And it's the kind of club that needs a little help there. Good hitting ball club. Pitch on its way. Line drive down the left side. Schrock with a nice play on a one-hopper. Guns it across to Lowry. And the ball will not hurt as retired at first base is Chris Pazuski for the third out. There were no runs. There was one hit by Blake Bryce. The runner's left stranded down at second. We've played 4 innings in this national title game. It's our Dogs 4 and the Bruins 3. Fifth inning. And to lead it off for the Dogs will be Anthony Crawford. He steps in. Ball sails high and upstairs for a ball. So we're underway in the fifth.
Crawford 0 for 1 officially. He walked and scored back in the second. Fly out to center in the third.
This one delivered. Foul ball way up high and behind the press box. It counts level at 1-1.
And if you folks are picking up the sound of breaking glass back home, that is not from a car windshield. That is the blips they have on the scoreboard here at Lewis and Clark Park.
This one nailed the Bulldog batter down to first base. To lead off the fifth, being hit by the pitch is Anthony Crawford.
The Bulldogs have got runners aboard every time. Leadoff runners in the first inning, in innings 1 through 5 here tonight. Maybe now they can get a run across the board again here in the top of the fifth. And we're going to have a pitching change, Lynn. The press announcer here at Lewis and Clark says Kibby Nemi.
Kibby Nemi. Okay, so Donald Kibby Nemi is now in the pitch. He delivers the first pitch to Weiler and he swings and misses. And he's out in front, no balls and 1 strike.
Weiler 0 for 2 on the evening. Fly out to left, long fly ball to left, and pop up to the catcher in foul territory in the third.
Into the motion, the pitch on its way, foul to the screen for a strike. So the count is now no balls and 2 strikes as the umpire delivers the toss out to Kibby Nemi, and it goes sailing out to second base. Weiler in the hole, no balls and 2 strikes. Teammate Anthony Crawford away from first. Kibby Nemi into the motion. Stares in, delivers the pitch. Weiler, line drive up the middle, base hit. And Weiler has registered his first hit, and the Dogs have runners on first and second. That was a solid single as he almost took Kibby Nemi into center field with it.
And a good time for Jason Weiler advancing the runner. Anthony Crawford over to second. Big base hit for Jason.
And Chris Combs will step in. Chris, first time up, took one over the right center field wall for a 2-run homer. Next time, hit a shot at the first baseman. So he's 1 for 2. He steps in here with Bulldog teammates at first and second. They lead away. Kibby Nemi delivers the pitch. There's a high fly ball down the right side. Camping under this, the right fielder, Pazuski. He'll make the foot out. Runner going to come over to third. Here comes a long throw. It's going to be close. He will be safe. Just got under the tag. The throw was to the left field side, and sliding beneath the tag is Anthony Crawford. It was a bang-bang play at third base, and now Mike Evans going to come out and question the call.
Mike Evans, who always carries a clipboard in his hand, dropped that clipboard over between the dugout and the first base line and went on a jaunt out to the third base umpire.
And Jason Weiler remains at first base. It was a bang-bang play at third. The throw was up the left field side. Had it been right on the money, Anthony Crawford might have been a dead pigeon, but Crawford slid to the inside part of the bag and just got under the tag, according to the third base umpire, so both teams may have gotten a break.
I saw a hand on the bag before the tag was made. I couldn't actually see the tag because of the pole, but I could see the hand on the bag before the third baseman made his move for the tag.
And you're the guy who left his glasses back at the hotel.
Glasses at the hotel, yes.
Okay. Nevertheless, Dogs with runners at first and third. There's Weiler going to second, heads back to first, and taking a pitch for a strike is Jamie Lowry. Lowry flied to center field, had a double his last time up, a hustling double, which was a soft fly ball in the right field that he was able to leg into second base head first. Pitch on his way to Lowry, this one downstairs. Dogs need to capitalize on this scoring opportunity. 1 ball, 1 strike, runners at first and third. Crawford down at third, Weiler over at first. Need to put the ball in play in the outfield and give Crawford a chance to score. Better yet, Jamie could play long ball. We could all be happy. Pitch on its way. Inside corner call. Strike two. Out in front of Lowry. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Chris Schrock waits on deck. We're in the 5th. Approaching the middle part of the game, or the halfway point. Dogs leading at 4-3. Have runners at first and third with just 1 out.
The Bulldog faithful down the third baseline, a lot of them standing a little bit, giving the fans something to cheer right now are the Bulldogs.
Kevin Emmy's pitch sails outside. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Once again, we'll remind you that the Dogs will be returning home right after this game. After a shower at the hotel, they'll hit the road and should be arriving tomorrow afternoon around 4:30. Hope you'll greet them at the exit. At Mount Juliet, the rest area, as swinging and fouling it to the right side is Jamie Lowry. And also a special event planned, I understand, at Phillips Dining Hall Sunday afternoon. Sort of a celebration victory party for the Dogs. Hope you'll make plans to be there at 2 o'clock.
It'll be a reception for the Bulldogs, win or lose. Everybody come out, give thanks to this team, wish them good luck for the rest of the summer.
Jamie Lowry at the plate with a 2 ball, 2 strike count. Pitch on its way. Line drive left side. Knocked down. It's going to fall safely for his. It squirts away from the shortstop, DeLuca. And Lowry has his second hit of the game and drives in Anthony Crawford from third base. You had to wait and see whether DeLuca could come up with it on the soft liner, but he was unable to, and it squirted away to the left side, and the Dogs now have runners on first and second and have plated their 5th run of the ball game.
And the second RBI on the evening for Jamie Lowry.
And Schrock will stand in there. Schrock has a perfect night, 1 for 1. He walked back in the 2nd, had a single in the 4th. Stands in here in the 5th. Takes this pitch outside for a ball. The thing you thought about this Bellevue Ball Club, they played 1 extra game in this World Series and has the Bulldogs is how spin is their pitching staff. Pitch on its way. Schrock, fly ball, softly hitting the center field. Camping underneath it is the center fielder Nason, and he has no problem with the catch. And the Dogs will have to send their base runners back to second and first, and now they're 2 away, and we'll head to the top of the order, and it'll bring up Rick Bayless.
Chris Schrock, though, making good contact, sending that ball deep into center field, but nevertheless, out number 2.
Kevin Emmy relieving Marcy Wilson here in the 5th inning. The Dogs are leading 5-3. They placed runs on the board in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and now here in the 5th. As Kemenimi delivers the pitch, taken inside by Bayless. John Kehoe waits on deck. Kehoe has a pair of hits on the night. Bayless singled back in the 1st. He grounded to second in the 2nd. Grounded as he tried to sacrifice the runners over to the 3rd baseman. Back in the 4th. He's batting for the 4th time here in the 5th inning. Pitch on its way to Bayless. Ground ball to the 2nd side. Second baseman up with it. He'll gun over to the 1st base and just nip Bayless.